What's up, Peace Machine? I'm Johnny Troth. I'm your friend, and I troth myself eternally to your service. Did you get your appreciation list going? If you haven't had one already, if you didn't have one already. I was talking about last time how I do my appreciation list. I've been doing this for years now. It's on a Google sheet, and I mentioned that every column has its own heading, which is the name of a person or nature or stuff that I'm working on, books that I like, whatever. And then what I didn't say is that underneath that is what you like about that person. You know, every time you think of something that you like about that person, you can put it in there. I think this is a great way to do it, because you usually have your phone with you, and all you have to do is pull out your phone and tap the drive, go to your Google sheet, and put in what you just thought of. Because if you don't put it down, you might forget it. And people easily forget things. Okay, so the time to do it is now. Okay, the only time that there is now. So I just wanted to mention that real quick and remind you of the importance of programming yourself with gratitude. As you embody in your body everything that you want to be as truths of what you already are and make them habits, then they automatically become part of you. Since we are wired to create habits, why not make your new habits true greatness, compassion, genius, ingenuity, empowerment, love, awareness, generosity, healing, quantum manifestation, divinity, joy, peace, and everything that feels good. Remove the limiting layers of personal emotions that you've decided to memorize as your identities. Shed those stupid limitations and remember the things that make you feel good. That's what's important. Abandon the false limitations that you've given so much power to. Overcome those neurally programmed habits that are blocking you and holding you back, and those destructive traits that are blocking your evolution. And let go of the attitudes that have kept you from knowing who you really are. Shed limitations based on survival and fear, and embrace what's real, which is love, compassion, and peace, and joy, and all those things that feel good. Success leaves clues. Real Magic, reading number 20. I'm continuing with creating your own magical personality. 1 was your personality. 2, your talent. 3, your intelligence. How smart would you like to be? How does the label of genius next to your name feel? Would you like to raise your IQ and possess the intellectual skills to outthink those around you? Would it take a miracle for you to be smarter intellectually than you already are? Is it in this area of the imaginary IQ that many people, it is in this area of the imaginary IQ that many people lead a life of illusion. Rid yourself of the belief that some magical number attached to your mind power limits your capabilities and achievements as a human being. The best definition of IQ is intelligence is what intelligence tests measure. Intelligence is what intelligence tests measure. No, I don't think so. You're not a number. You are a soul that is numberless and infinite. The capacities of your inner self are unlimited because it has no boundaries. Test makers and test users of all descriptions would like you to believe the opposite, so they circulate this kind of misinformation within the culture. Quote, you cannot change your IQ, it's fixed, and it determines what you can and cannot do in life. But think about this for a moment. These tests, which supposedly measure something abstract called intelligence, were devised by people who want to sell their instruments, who want to slot people into compartments, who want to restrict people from attending certain schools, who want to set up a practice for the purpose of giving out these numbers to parents. They are physical world instruments that attempt to deter people from achieving their purpose in life. They are silly, absurd procedures. They give people some kind of external number to hold on to and explain their levels of success or lack of success in the material world. Okay. Let me talk on school off the book. Let me talk off the book on the whole, my opinion of school for a little bit. I think that the main things that the way our school system is set up now, which is the same way it's been for hundreds of years, we're evolving, okay? It's time to recognize that we are evolving. We're learning more about how we learn more, about how we grow. And it's time to change our schooling system. Because what it does right now is to take away the creativity of young kids going to school by forcing them to come up with the answer for the test, the one answer that the teacher thinks is right for each question on the test, or to give the essay answer that the teacher wants. Multiple guess is one thing. I mean, when you're talking about an essay, it's different because in an essay, I mean, there's almost always more than one right answer. Usually there's like 100 right answers or 1,000 right answers. And the kids are like, oh, you have to get the one that I want you to say. Okay, so it's taking away their creativity, and when they don't get it, the one answer that the teacher wants, it's taking away their courage. It's discouraging. I think a very good idea would be to take out history class because it's in the past. In the past, that's the way you want it to be. You could brush over it so you don't make the mistakes again, all right? So remind the kids, you don't want to force other people to go have to kill people in war, all right? You don't have to, like, make them know the dates of the wars and all the names of the people involved in forcing other people to kill other people or whatever. You don't even have to talk about that at all. I think what we want to do is take out history class and put in appreciation class. Make appreciation class something that everybody has to take in every level of school. In college, you can major in appreciation class. Wouldn't that be great? To major in appreciation in college? I think that what you want to do is let the kids in school have creativity. Let them be creative as much as you can. You can give them tests if you want, and then don't have one correct answer. If it's a good answer, then give them credit. Give them props. Say good answer. That's a great answer. You're leaning towards peace and connectivity and unity and evolution and thinking outside of the box, being creative. That's a right answer. Good job. I remember seeing an episode of Cheers. This is going to tell you how old I am, okay? But I remember an episode of Cheers when Cliff Clavin was on Jeopardy. And he got like all the answers right. Okay? In Final Jeopardy, he had like $50,000 something or whatever. And the other people had like $300 or like $400 or $200 or whatever. They got a couple. He let them get a couple. And then I don't remember what the question was, but it was like in Final Jeopardy, it was like, who are these three people? And Cliff Clavin answered, these are three people who have never. He bet all of his money, and he said, these are three people who have never been in my kitchen, because he didn't know what the answer was. The answer that Alex Trebek was looking for. And Alex, being the friendly guy he is, like, something like, well, Cliff, that might be true, but that's not the answer we're looking for, or whatever. And the guy who had $400 won. Or whatever. This is what I'm talking about, alright? That destroyed all of Cliff Clavin's, that was very discouraging. It took away all of his courage when that happened. Do you want that to be happening to your kids at school when they don't get the one right answer that the teacher's looking for? They don't get rewarded with a good grade on their paper or a sticker or whatever? No, you don't want that. Let the kids talk to each other. Don't make them sit in a chair with their hands folded. Okay? Okay, teach them responsibility to make them come to your class and be there on time. While they're at your class, let them talk to each other. Don't just be dictating. Don't be a dick. Don't be dictating everything to them. Let them be them. Let them make friends. Encourage them as much as you can. Tell them they're doing great as much as you can and stuff like that. Alright? Then school would be good. Okay, back to the book. Wayne Dyer says, I'm reading Real Magic by Wayne Dyer. Wayne Dyer says, let me give you two examples from my own life to illustrate this point. Procedures that give people some kind of external number to hold on to and explain their levels of success or lack of success in the material world. Let me give you two examples from my own life, says Wayne Dyer, to illustrate this point. I was once invited to take an examination to measure my intelligence and reading skills, and the test makers had used several paragraphs from my book, Your Erroneous Zones. That was one of his first books. It's a great one, Your Erroneous Zones. I was instructed to read the paragraph and then answer 5 questions based upon my interpretation of the material. I read the paragraph that I had written myself, and then I proceeded to answer the questions. I received a score of 80% on the 5 questions. The only question that I failed to answer correctly was number 5, the, quote, intent of the author. My IQ was lowered because I was unable to correctly identify the intent of the author when I was the author. On another occasion, when I was still a college student, I took an examination in a course on modern American poetry. The instructor told me that my interpretation of the poem in question was incorrect, and he consequently lowered my grade considerably. The poet was alive at the time, teaching at a large Midwestern university. I decided to write to the poet and send him my interpretation of his poem, which I thought was insightful and, quote, correct. I received a beautiful letter in response, and the poet told me that my views on his poetry reflected his own. He indicated that I, too, had the mind of a poet and suggested I pursue writing my own poetry. I took my interpretation of the poem along with the letter from the poet to a scheduled consultation with my English instructor, feeling certain that I would have my, quote, poetry IQ raised as a result. My instructor refused to raise my grade. His response was, quote, sometimes poets don't really know how to interpret their own poems. Your grade stands. Consider examples such as these as you evaluate your own IQ. So I want to say here real quick, see, that's the thing about a lot of teachers is they have this power, they're on this power trip, which destroys another thing that destroys the creativity of the kids. Because they have this position of authority. They feel like they have to project their authority to control the kids, taking away their ambition. No, don't do that. Don't let the teachers do that to your kids. They're treating them like criminals, like how cops treat people on the street to project their authority. No. No bueno. No. Okay. Back to the book. Consider examples such as these as you evaluate your own IQ. Know that there are no accidents in this perfect universe. Know that your purpose is beyond anything that can be measured with scientific measurements. Know for certain that one person's ability to solve the rhyming scheme of an Elizabethan sonnet and another's capacity for understanding calculus formulations is simply what it is. There is no need for comparison or sliding scales. Your IQ is an illusion. You can change that number around drastically by changing around what is on the tests. Is the person who can fine-tune an automobile less intelligent than a person who can solve a quadratic equation? Is the classroom teacher dressed in a suit and tie who explains environmental matters from an intellectual perspective more intelligent than a young, environmentally aware person who chooses to learn firsthand by living in the woods? Who decided on this business of IQ? Why would we want to label everyone in our culture with another number? A number that is misinterpreted by the person receiving the number and by those who are issuing it as well. You are as capable as you want to be to fulfill your purpose. Your intelligence is infinite. You must know that there is an absurdity in this assignment of an IQ number to people. Intelligence is about the mind. The mind is without boundaries. And IQ numbers are all about boundaries. There's no way to quantify something that is without dimensions. If you want to experience the miracle of having genius-level intelligence, then change around those inner voices that have convinced you of your limitations because of your intellect. almost 20 years ago in Your Erroneous Zones, his book. He says, I redefine intelligence. I stand by that definition to this day. Quote, a truer barometer of intelligence is an effective, happy life lived each day and each present moment of every day. End quote. I'm going to read that again. A truer barometer of intelligence is an effective, happy life lived each day and each present moment of each day. You are a genius when you know that you have the intellectual capacity to create your own happiness. And when you know whom or what to consult, then you are your own genius. Certainly you can improve upon your ability to do any intellectual task. You can improve your arithmetic and reading skills. You can learn anything that you put your mind to. What you have or have not learned up until this moment is a function of the choices that you have been making, not some innate incapacity determined by a number assigned to you by those who have their own self-interest at heart in their numbering game. Know this about your intelligence level and keep it uppermost in your infinite, boundless, numberless mind. You are a spiritual being first and foremost, and you cannot put a number on that. 4. Your habits and customs. Your habits and customs. Would you like to be able to change some of the things that you find yourself doing repeatedly, but that do not serve you? Would you like to rid yourself of self-defeating habits? Be free of customs that you dislike and feel a victim of? Use your magical powers of inner persuasion to challenge everything about yourself. Use your magical powers of inner persuasion to challenge everything about yourself. Your personality is made up of the hundreds of habitual ways that you conduct the daily physical affairs of your life. If you are leading an existence of television and inactivity that you dislike, but that you can't shake, you can create the miracle that you seek. You can change around your daily humdrum habits and get yourself fully involved in life, regardless of your income level or circumstances. Remember, circumstances do not make the person, they reveal them. That's a quote. Was that from Thoreau or something like that? And the quote is, man, circumstances don't make the man, they reveal him. I change it to person and them, because then it applies to everybody, even women. Even though everybody used to be called man, we don't do that anymore, okay? Alright, that was me talking out of the book. I want to introduce you to someone. Merlin. I keep him hanging on my wrist. I paused my recording because I'm showing you Merlin right now. Merlin. He's my magician, okay? Can you see Merlin the magician? Merlin the magician. Is it focusing? Focus. Focus. It's not focusing. Oh well. Merlin looks like a wizard to me. A little figurine that I found when I was walking around. And I keep him attached to my wrist sometimes. Sometimes I wear him around my neck. Sometimes I put the key to my car on the clip and wear that around my neck or on my wrist. So that's all I need to get back into my car where all my stuff, my truck where all my stuff is. Merlin, to me, embodies the archetype of the magician. When I want to summon my magician more, I hold on to Merlin. That's another anchor. The magician is very charming. Your magician archetype is very charming. And we're talking off the book here. Your magician archetype is very charming. And is very good at getting other people to want to do what you want them to do. Very good. Your magician archetype is a very good listener and knows how to feel the energy of whoever you're talking with. And holding on to it is an example of an anchor. I originally learned about anchors from Tony Robbins out of one of his earlier books. And through all of my studying of mindfulness things and stuff, I formed my own anchors. When I touch my thumbs, both thumbs, to my index fingers, I feel peace. That's the easiest one to reach. Peace is the easiest thing to hold on to. When I touch my thumbs to both of my index fingers, I feel the energy of peace going all through me, resting in my heart. Taking a deep breath, holding in peace. When I exhale, I release my thumbs from my fingers and release everything that's not giving me peace. And the ring finger, the next one is the middle finger, and that represents compassion for me. Do the same thing with that. And then the ring fingers are love. It's a little harder to reach to the love. And the hardest one to reach to is the pinky, and that represents courage for me when I want to summon. Well, that could be summoning the warrior in you for courage. And then after you finish what you wanted to use the warrior for, you want to release that aggression and return to peace. Then you go back to peace. And what I do is when I'm touching my thumbs to all of my fingers, that's gratitude. So that's a great anchoring technique that you can use for yourself if you want. All right, back to the book. Wayne Dyer's talking, he's talking about, okay, I'll just read the last paragraph again. If you are leading an existence of television and inactivity that you dislike, but that you can't shake, you can create a miracle that you seek. You can create the miracle that you seek. You can change around your daily humdrum habits and get yourself fully involved in life, regardless of your income level or circumstances. Remember, circumstances do not make the person, they reveal them. I changed man, the person, and him to them. The neighborhood within a few miles of my home, says Wayne Dyer, has the highest unemployment rate in the state of Florida. Something close to 75% of the people are out of work. Yet, as I drive through the neighborhood, I notice broken glass on the lawns, litter everywhere, grass that is not trimmed, houses that are not clean or painted. Why? If 75% of the people are unemployed, wouldn't it seem logical that you would see these people at least picking up the trash and broken glass with their abundance of free time, but you don't. You see people stirring around doing nothing. The circumstances of their lives have revealed how they have chosen to live. It costs nothing to pick up and clean up, yet this is not done because those habits have become the ways of dealing with their circumstances. Your habits reveal you. Your habits reveal you. They say something about how you have chosen to live your life and to use your powerful mind. The same invisible force that runs through those who do pick up the broken glass and manage to work and support their families runs through those who make the opposite choices. It's in every one of us. Some tap into it, others ignore it, and then blame their circumstances for the habits and customs of their lives. Off the book, I want to say real quick, somebody once said that if you want to get something done, give it to a busy person. Now you may be thinking, well, if you give it to a busy person, they have less time, so they're less able to get it done, right? No. You give it to a busy person because busy people get stuff done. They know the value of time. Time is the most valuable thing that there is. Money isn't even a real thing. Time is all that life is. Time isn't money. Time is more than precious. Time is life. Time is life. How do you want to spend your life? Back to the book. Being unhappy is a habit. Being depressed is a habit. Being lazy is a habit. Being limited is a habit. These and many other personality traits result from the way in which you use your mind. There are many, many people, including this writer, Wayne Dyer, who have spent a large portion of their lives with very little in the way of material possessions, yet their habit was not to be depressed about it. There are many in such circumstances who have a habit of choosing happiness over despair, since these are inner, not outer processes. And those who do manage to choose self-enhancing habits are almost always those who transcend their circumstances of scarcity and create more abundance in their lives. Whatever habits and customs you find yourself blindly obeying, you can change in a moment when you become a spiritual being first and a material being second. You have the power to change those things that do not work for you, that you have come to call troublesome habits or customs. If you believe this and know it within yourself, you will find your physical self automatically following a new course. Learning to think in non-habitual ways is the essence of overcoming personality traits that no longer serve you. You don't need to, it says in the book, you need not stay conditioned. So I'm just going to change it to, you don't want to stay conditioned and hypnotized in your current state if it does not serve your purpose. You may have adopted a habit of allowing others to influence you, or to push you around, or to be a servant to others at the expense of fulfilling your own destiny. These are habits that you have adopted by teaching others in your life exactly what you are willing to put up with. You can rid yourself of habits that come from allowing others to manipulate you. You can rid yourself of, quote, ingrained personality traits, which are not truly ingrained at all. They are habitual ways that you have chosen for yourself. The way to creating a miracle for yourself in which you are not a victim of others, your circumstances, or yourself, is in shifting your inner world and creating in that private space room for a purposeful, spiritually fulfilled human being. Let's take a deep breath right now. Let's take a deep breath and think about the bad habits that you've allowed yourself. I'm talking off the book here. Let's take a deep breath right now and think about the bad habits that you've allowed yourself to live in up until now. And imagine taking all those bad habits with your eyes closed, putting them in a box, and throwing the box in a fire and watching it burn and smelling it burn. And then you can replace those bad habits with identities that you choose for yourself of ways that you want to be. When you're exhaling, they're all those bad habits are leaving, all that bad programming is leaving you. And then when you take another deep breath in, you're breathing in the ways that you want to be. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for the guidance. Touching your thumbs to all of your fingers, feeling gratitude for the guidance. Thank you for peace. Thank you for compassion. Thank you for love. Thank you for my courage to be who I'm here to be. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Back to the book. 5. You're aging. Imagine for yourself the ultimate miracle, a slowing down or an elimination of the aging process. Now there is an outright, uncategorical miracle. You can have an enormous impact on the state of aging in your body. Here's my friend Dr. Deepak Chopra on the subject in his classic work, Perfect Health. It's italicized, capitalized, so I guess it's the name of one of Deepak Chopra's books, Perfect Health. Deepak Chopra's great. I've read many of his books. I've read, a few. Not many, like 2 or 3 of his books, something like that. A few. I think I've read a few of his books. I don't think I've read Perfect Health. Here's an insert from Perfect Health, if it's a book. Let's see. Here's the insert. Aging seems so complicated. Should I try to do it in the Deepak Chopra voice? No, I'm not going to do that. Aging seems so complicated that it is difficult even to pin down exactly what it is. A typical liver cell performs 500 separate functions which gives it 500 ways to go wrong. All of these possibilities constitute the ways in which it can age. On the other hand, the view that aging is complex may be wrong, despite the 1,000 waves that bring it in. The ocean tide is a single phenomenon, driven by a single force. The same may be true of human aging, although we see it as hundreds of waves, disconnected aches and pains, new wrinkles around the eyes, and deeper smile marks at the corner of the mouth, ... and innumerable other minor inconveniences. That's the end of the inserted quote there from Perfect Health by Deepak Chopra. Try to get this new perspective that Dr. Chopra outlines brilliantly in his chapter titled, quote, "Aging is a mistake." The A, the I, and the M are all capitalized. Aging is a mistake. While everyone succumbs to the aging process, the question of significance is, do we have to? He points out that DNA, which controls all the cellular functions, is virtually invulnerable to wear and tear. It has survived without even a millimeter of aging for 600 million years. At the minimum, the very stuff of your being is simply ageless, yet we age. Why? The ancient sages called the aging process a mistake of the intellect. The reason why is because, I'm talking out the book here, because because there would be there'd be like 1,000 billion. There wouldn't be anywhere to move around. Earth would be consumed if nobody died. I mean, come on. Do you want to live forever? Who wants to? All right. I've heard that. I'm still talking out the book here. I've heard that the human body is designed to live for hundreds of years. I would like to live for a couple hundred years. I want to live to be 150. So you do that by getting rid of the bad habits and bringing in the good ones instead. And knowing that you're healthy. Anyway, back to the book. I mean, I want to, okay, first, I want to enjoy my ride in this body on Earth as much as I can. Don't you? Life is a fun ride. A ride isn't fun if it never ends. And then when we die, we get all the answers that are impossible for us to figure out when we're alive. We return to what we really are. Life is a fun ride. Keep that in mind. Life is a fun ride. Back to the book. The ancient sages called the aging process a mistake of the intellect. Aging is the forgetting of how to make things right within a cell. It's not normal. It simply is a learned way of being. The mistake of the intellect is in identifying exclusively with the physical body and coming to know that one has to experience the aging process. The mind begins to prepare for aging as soon as it's capable of intellectualizing. You've seen it all around you. You've read about it, and that is all you know. Therefore, you prepare your body for its own self-destruction. The way out of this trap, the real magic that is available to you, is located, as is everything else, in your invisible self, your mind. You can absolutely refuse to let an old person into your body. This is your own garage that you use to temporarily park your soul. You can change around your inner perspective and literally affect each and every cell of your body. Your invisible self, your mind, is not located only in your brain. It is your spiritual consciousness, and it's in every single cell of your being. The world is in you, so to speak. Yeah, Deepak Chopra loves to say that. You are not in this world. The world is in you. That's Deepak's favorite thing to say. He loves to say that. The world is in you, so to speak. And if you can work your mind in a genuinely magical sense, you can strongly affect the aging process of the cells composed of indestructible DNA. If, as you read these words, you are filled with doubt about that possibility for yourself, then of course your doubt will affect each and every cell in your body, including the DNA memory for renewing itself. Okay, I'm going to talk about the book again. Have you ever heard that every cell in your body is new after a few, like 6 months or a year or whatever? You're continually replacing old cells with new ones. And I think the way it works through quantum mechanics is if you're focusing on illness and fatigue and whatever, pains, then the cells that are bad get replaced with another bad cell. And that theory is based on the outcome of the observer effect from the double slit experiment in the 1920s, if you want to research that. Okay, so, if you're only focusing on good things, then your cells heal themselves. Your cells, the one that goes away gets replaced with a good one, right? Okay, I think that's how it works. All right. Back to the book. The way out of this trap, the real magic that is available to you, is located, as is everything else, in your invisible self. Why would you want to prepare your body for its own self-destruction? The way out of this trap, the real magic that is available to you, is located, as is everything else, in your invisible self, your mind. Consciousness is primary. Where your focus goes, your energy flows. Your mind. You can absolutely refuse to let an old person into your body. This is your own garage that you use to temporarily park your soul. You can change around your inner perspective and literally affect each and every cell of your body. Your invisible self, your mind, is not located only in your brain. It's your spiritual consciousness, and it's in every single cell of your being. The world is in you, so to speak. And if you can work your mind in a genuinely magical sense, you can strongly affect the aging process of the cells composed of indestructible DNA. If, as you read these words, you are filled with doubt about that possibility for yourself, then of course your doubt will affect each and every cell in your body, including the DNA memory for renewing itself. It's in your mind where that invisible intelligence works its magic. Okay, before I read that paragraph, I want to tell you, you may be wondering, if Wayne Dyer's, he knows all this stuff, then why did he die at the age of 75? That's why I kept thinking about that. I thought about that for so much. Why did he die at 75? And I heard from Peter Sage, my main mentor now is Peter Sage. I've heard him say something like, a few times I've heard him say something like, when you've done what you're here to do, you might as well expect to be hit by a bus. You know, something like that. After you've done whatever you're here on earth in this body to do. And I feel like that's what happened to Wayne Dyer. He had leukemia. He got leukemia. I think he got leukemia because he always had 3 white candles lit in the room that he meditated in. And then I did some research and figured out that breathing burning candle wax could cause leukemia. And he got leukemia. And then he got connected with, what's it called, John of God. I think it's called John of God. And I remember hearing the story, I think it was in a great audio book of his. I can't think of the title of it right now. Maybe it'll come to me later. It's talking about how John of God healed him. I think over the phone. He texted him pictures or whatever, and like he got healed. He also likes to talk about another experience he had where he was carrying somebody up some stairs on his back and his knee was giving out, and he prayed and asked for help, and his knee got healed or whatever. And the thing is, it was just time for him to go because he did everything he was here to do. And it was time for his spirit wanted to come back. His spirit desperately wanted to come back. And there's nothing. So, I mean, I'm taking my time. I want to live to be 150. I want to see in this body how all this stuff plays out. I'm glad it's taken me to be, I'm almost 50 years old. It's taken me like, it took me like 40 years to start to get on my path. In that 40 years, I learned all the things that I want to help in this world. I want to live I'm almost 50 and I want to live for another 100 years. I'm just starting to get all this stuff figured out. I want to see what happens in 100 years. I want to see, okay, so the population of Earth is rocketing up right now. It's rocketing up. And I want to see what happens when there's 100 billion, 200 billion, 300 billion people on Earth. I want to see what happens when people are flying around in their own little vehicles like in the Jetsons, like Elon Musk is making right now. I want to see what happens when people are flying into their building that's into their like dock, their little personal vehicle is flying into their docking port. It's in a building that's in like a mile or 2 miles up in the air. I want to see all that fun stuff. I want to be sitting around in my own personal flying vehicle on autopilot, pushing a button that says home, and doing whatever I want to do when it flies me into my docking station 2 miles up in the air, because all the land has been taken up because there's now hundreds of billions of people on Earth. I want to see all that. Okay. So I'm taking my time. Taking my time. I'm taking my time. I'm enjoying life. I want to live to be 150. There's lots of stuff I want to do here on Earth in this body, in this life. Back to the book. It's in your mind where that invisible intelligence works its magic, that you must examine your attitudes toward aging. Do you think old thoughts? Do you believe that you must stoop and slow down and lose your memory and look old? It's in these invisible formulations that you program your cells to function. That invisible intelligence is ageless and perfect. You can begin to rethink how you feel about having your individual cells deteriorate. And if you use your mind in a new way to develop a new knowing within, perhaps you will be able to affect that process that you have come to think of as inescapable. Here's another quote from Perfect Health, a Deepak Chopra book, I guess, called Perfect Health, which I cannot resist putting in. Insert. If you take your mind to a level of functioning that is beyond age, then your body will begin to be touched by the same quality. It will age more slowly because your mind tells it to. At the deepest level, seeing yourself as free from aging, you in fact will be. End quote. Okay, I love Deepak Chopra. I want to talk off the book again. I love Deepak Chopra, and I'm currently living in San Diego, and last I heard was that Deepak Chopra was living in La Jolla, which is a 20-minute drive without traffic away from me right now. And I really see myself connecting with Deepak. I see myself being good friends with him, like Wayne Dyer was. Deepak's still alive. Maybe he wants to live to be 152. Maybe we'll be able to connect within the next few years. And we'll be doing stuff together like he and Wayne were. Let's see how we can make that happen. Alright? Let's see how we can make that happen. I'm going to be hanging out with Deepak. Having dinner at each other's places. Having dinner parties at each other's places. Let's get that going. Alright, back to the book. Rather than rejecting this notion, I'm going to read Deepak's quote here again real quick. If you take your mind to a level of functioning that is beyond age, then your body will begin to be touched by the same quality. It will age more slowly because your mind tells it to, at the deepest level. Seeing yourself as free from aging, you in fact will be, end quote. Rather than rejecting this notion, just let it in and see if you can get it to make some sense for you in the 50 trillion cells that are all working in perfect harmony to maintain your aliveness in that human ageless body of yours. 50 trillion cells that are all working in perfect harmony to maintain your aliveness in that human ageless body of yours. 6, your emotional health is where I'll begin the next reading on page 191. What's up, Peace Machine? I'm Johnny Troth. I'm your friend, and I troth myself eternally to your service. Did you get your appreciation list going? If you haven't had one already, you didn't have one already. I was talking about last time how I do my appreciation list. I've been doing this for years now. It's on a Google sheet, and I mentioned that every column has its own heading, which is the name of a person or nature or stuff that I'm working on, books that I like, whatever. And then what I didn't say is that underneath that is what you like about that person. You know, every time you think of something that you like about that person, you can put it in there. I think this is a great way to do it, because you usually have your phone with you, and all you have to do is pull out your phone and tap the drive, go to your Google sheet, and put in what you just thought of. Because if you don't put it down, you might forget it. And people easily forget things. Okay, so the time to do it is now. Okay, the only time that there is now. So I just wanted to mention that real quick and remind you of the importance of programming yourself with gratitude. This website's coming real soon. As you embody I had it going for a little
in
bit.
your body. Everything that you want to be
Not
as
going right
truths
now. It's
of
coming
what
back
you
real
already
soon.
are, and make them habits, then they automatically become part of you. Since we are wired to create habits, why not make your new habits true greatness, compassion, genius, ingenuity, empowerment, love, awareness, generosity, healing, quantum manifestation, divinity, joy, peace, and everything that feels good. Remove the limiting layers of personal emotions that you've decided to memorize as your identities. Shed those stupid limitations and remember the things that make you feel good.